Hello, everybody, and welcome to my live stream on Monday afternoon. This is July the 21st, and I missed last week because last week was just really busy. I didn't give any warning. I just didn't do it. And I apologize if you were sitting there on your computer waiting for a live stream and it just didn't happen. My apologies. But we are here today, and it looks like there are a lot of you waiting here already, which is great. The Comic Pages was the first to comment. Logan Wayne, as usual. Hello, Kurtis, and everyone in the chat. Hope you are all doing well this afternoon/evening. And yes, I'm doing quite well. How are you doing? Ryan is here, and it was wrong to get both Epic Collections and Omnibuses for both ROM. Was I wrong to get both Epic Collections and Omnibuses for ROM and Micronauts? Not necessarily. It's good to have all of the Omnis in case the Epics just don't come out, because you never know, they could cancel it. Even if it's solicited, it could still be canceled. So while we have announcements that Micronauts is going to be complete in the middle of 2026, they could change their mind and get cold feet, or something could happen with the license. Who knows? Matt H is here. Gene's Comic Pages. Are you the same guy as the Comic Pages? You have two different accounts there? Same avatar. Dr. Smith History. Steven. Batman. You're near the end of Thor Epic 1, are you? I found that one a little rough. That one was it was a little hard to read. It definitely gets better as the series goes along. Finally got back into the Starman compendiums. Actually, weirdly fits my Western theme for July with the Scalp Hunter flashback stories. What else are you reading for Western comics? That's an interesting theme to go for. What are we all reading? I just finished Daredevil Modern 2. Well, Dr. Smith History, I just finished Silver Surfer, Into the Outer Void. Is that one? I can't remember. But yeah, that one was pretty good, actually. It was not the best Silver Surfer, but certainly not the worst. And I like the lot of bonus features in that one. Marvel team up, and a graphic novel, and a holiday special, some X-Men. So it's got a lot to offer. It's kind of fun. And now I am 6 issues into Thunderbolts, the 3rd volume of Thunderbolts, the one with Archangel on the cover. David's here. First time making a live stream with the amazing Kurtis. Glad to have you. Axel's here again. Rascal Wolf. Finished reading Avengers Operation Galactic Storm. I'm going to read Infinity War next. Operation Galactic Storm is pretty fun, isn't it? Well, I've got a bunch of things to open up here, but I just wanted to share a couple of things that I picked up recently. Found these in a used bookstore. Who's a fan of Pogo? Do you know this one? If you know me at all, you know that I love classic comic strips, and this one is one of the best classic comic strips. So it is about this little possum named Pogo, and he lives in a swamp in somewhere in Middle America. This is Albert the alligator, and they just kind of have their swamp adventures and such. And as the strip goes on and on and on, it gets increasingly more and more politically minded. And so this book here is a collection of comic strips from 1959 and 1956. This book itself came out in, 1959 and 1960. This book itself came out in 1960, and it's very old. I don't want to open up too much because it'll break the spine, but you can see Walt Kelly is the artist, and he is a former Disney animator. You can kind of tell by his comic book or his drawings, because they are fluid, they are full volume, they are adorable, and he doesn't draw the character in the same pose every panel of like Charles Schultz does with Peanuts. He can draw these characters from any angle. And so yeah, it's funny. Sometimes it's hard to read because the characters have this like thick Southern drawl kind of accent. And Walt Kelly likes to play a lot with words and the way things sound and such. So, but it's funny. It's a funny strip. So I got this book, and I got the Pogo Poop book. And as you can tell, there's there's maybe some villainy going on in the background of this one here. This one is neat as well because a lot while it does have strips, it does have little short stories that Walt Kelly drew as well. And it's yeah, very political, and it definitely is more left leaning than right leaning, that's for sure. But fun stuff. So anyway, that's what I've picked up recently from thrift stores. Do I like Johnny Hazard? Yes, I do like Johnny Hazard. I haven't read very much of it, but what I have read is it's a lot of fun. Um, but I would like to see some more reprints. I know that Hermes reprints Johnny Hazard, but those books are really expensive, and I haven't been able to keep up on those. Okay, here's the westerns that Part Work Comics reader is doing. Jono Hex showcases all of Six Gun, Frankenstein, Texas, The Grievous Journey of Ichabod Azrael. Haven't heard of that one. And Dead Left in His Wake. Haven't heard of that one either. Missionary Man, Hell Trackers, all of those last ones. Very unfamiliar with the Western genre. So that's cool to see these titles come up. I'm going to have to check them out and see. Currently reading through Micronauts Volume 1, just 3 issues to go until I'm done with it. That's awesome. I'm reading a bunch of classic runs for the first time. Simonson's Thor, Michelini's Iron Man, Stern's Spider-Man, and Grunwald's Cap. Well, sounds like you are deep into the 80s there. That is a lot of good stuff. I just started DC Finest Gorilla World and finishing Tomasi's Superman run. Nice. The later ones are all from 2000 AD. There's a lot of good stuff in there. Hey, from what I've read of 2000 AD, I really enjoyed it. One of my favorite comics is The Button Man, and that one it was a 2080 comic, I believe, but that one is so good. Okay, the other book I want to show you before we open up new packages is this one here. Because I missed last week's live stream, I had to just go ahead and open this one up because I had to start reading it because I'm going to be on Dom's live stream, Finest Fridays, this Friday. And so I couldn't wait for this live stream to open up. I had to get reading. But this is Golden Age DC Comics, Justice Society of America, The Plunder of the Psycho Pirate. This is volume 2 in the series. And as you can see, this one gets a little political as well. We got a little do batter over here because this is 1942 to 1945. So this is definitely the war years all collected in one volume. And the way that these stories work is that there's an opening sequence, and then where it establishes what the team, the Justice Society, is going to be up to in this issue, and then it breaks it up. All of the team goes off into different directions, and each character gets a 4 or 5 page story, and it's meant to be kind of a showcase of all of these characters and kind of a publicity for all of their individual titles, because at the end of each one of their stories it says, like the Spectre exploits each month in more fun comics. So if you want more Spectre, go there. So that's kind of neat. I like that. There's each of the chapters is drawn by a different person. It's drawn by the person who does the regular title over in their own book. And um and yeah, this is just it's really neat stuff. Um, I'm only a part way through this book. I haven't really made a whole lot of progress, but volume 1 was a lot of fun, a little repetitive, but still fun. This one is more of the same. It doesn't really change in its tone from what I read, even in these early years or so. So getting eventually, I think they start doing longer form stories that aren't broken up into the chapters. But I think, but I haven't reached that point yet. These are all restored, so they all look good. The words are nice and crisp and clear, and the colors are bright and vibrant as you would expect from a restoration of this type. Um, Sometimes in the earlier issues here, they stray a little bit from the original colors. I mean, I haven't really compared the comics, so I can't say for sure, but there are some odd gradients, um, like this gradient here. I don't know if that would have been present in the original book or not. But that's um Man, we need some Golden Age epics. I don't want to have to expand into omnis. Right with you there. As far as epic collections are concerned, probably the only ones that we would get if Marvel does them would be Captain America, Namor, and Human Torch. The characters that have since crossed over to the modern day or Silver Age uh, continuity, because as we've seen, they don't seem to be too particular about licensing out their older material out to other companies. So Fantagraphics has been actually doing of um, a lot of Golden Age Marvel reprints back when Marvel, because Marvel started at the Silver Age, so before Marvel was Atlas, and so Fantagraphics has been doing this series called the Atlas Library. So if you want Golden Age reprints, they're not epics, but good value. Go over to Fantagraphics and see what they have there. The fact that the science fiction DC finest has issues from Strange Adventures and Mystery in Space gives me hope that we might see and you might get an Adam Strange DC finest at some point, especially Silver Age. That is not impossible at all. I think the best bet for an Adam Strange DC finest is if they if Adam Strange shows up in a movie or something. But you never know. They've been throwing everything at the wall to start at least, so we'll see what happens. That would be kind of cool. Okay, we're gonna open up some packages here. Oh, also found a copy of that Fireside I almost said Jim Lee, Stan Lee and Jack Kirby Silver Surfer graphic novel. So that's next. Yeah, I found a copy of that last year, and it's a good book. What is your favorite Golden Age DC comic series you read so far? That might be a tie. If I'm going more serious, then Flash is really good. I really enjoyed that DC Finest. And then also Plastic Man. I really liked Plastic Man. Thought that one was great. Um, so yeah, there you go. This is on the other end of the spectrum here, the comic spectrum. Deadpool, not quite a modern age, but pretty much the modern age. Um, oh man, this one has a cut in the back. What? I'm gonna have to exchange that one, I think. That's not acceptable, right? You wouldn't accept that. It got a cut even through some of these pages, about 20 pages or so. That's what I get for ordering from Amazon. Anyway, here we are. This is Deadpool Epic Collection Volume 7. This is called Agent X, and it is collecting comics from 2002 to 2003. Now, there was a period, and it's a rumor, I don't know if this is confirmed or not, where Marvel wanted to stop paying royalties to Rob Liefeld based on his characters Deadpool and Cable and X-Force. So they switched all of those titles all at once to be called something else. X-Force became Ecstatics, and Cable became Soldier X, and Deadpool became Agent X. And that's what we're dealing with here. You can see this is on the back here. That's Agent X. And it was written by Gail Simone, I believe. So this book actually has the very last part of Deadpool's ongoing series, issues 65 to 69, and then the title was changed to Agent X, which it lasted for 15 issues. And so the whole series is collected in this book here. And this one was also groundbreaking because it was Udon Studios, I think, was uh, was the artist on here. So it has a very kind of manga in influence. This style was all over Marvel Comics in the early 2000s. There are a lot of people were influenced by this type of artwork, and a lot more computer coloring. You didn't have as many like the cross hatching inking kind of stuff. It was all filled in with colors. But there you go. There's Taskmaster. I don't know anything about this era really. Let's get to the first issue of Agent X and see what that cover looks like. Oh, there it is. I saw it. Agent X. Do you remember this era where Marvel put all of the information down the side like that? I remember it distinctly with Chuck Austin's X-Men. That's the same era as this right here. So Agent X, is it Deadpool? Is it not? That's the big question, and gets answered throughout this book here. So somebody in the comments, please tell me, is this content any good? Is it worth reading? I mean, I'm going to read it, but am I going to have a good time? It is Gail Simone, and I do like the stuff that I've read by her, but I don't know anything about this title. Oh, different artists partway through the book there. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be fun. It doesn't look as goofy as Deadpool gets, that's for sure. So we'll have to see. Yeah. Okay. You want to see the spine? There's the spine. It's an upside down Deadpool. I'm not big on Simone, but I really love the Deadpool run. Happy to have it in a big collection. I won't spoil it, but it's funny how much of that book is only kind of Deadpool. Well, what does that mean? I guess we'll have to read it to find out. Gene says, I did not enjoy it. Yeah, so I think that might be the consensus on a lot of that stuff. All three of those books went through drastic changes. Like they really, really, on purpose, changed them quite a bit. Some of them have survived better than others. Ecstatics became a cult classic. Oh, this is interesting. Definitely worth reading. Some of the best Deadpool comics after Kelly. Okay, that's good to hear. Shall we open up another one? This one, is it going to be Marvel or is it going to be DC? Let's find out. It's DC. This one I've been looking forward to. Um, in fact, this one came last week, and I would have opened it up, but I've been waiting to open it up with all of you on this live stream here. So here we are, science fiction. Oh, it says the Gail Simone content is good. The writers during the editorial dispute are not so good, but Simone comes back, and it's not great, but it is good. Okay, there you go. Thank you for that review on Deadpool. So this one here, science fiction. It's called the Gorilla World, but from what I understand, there's actually not a whole lot of Gorilla World stories on here. In fact, this spine picture sounds like it's more representative of the book than the cover, because most of it is going to be outer space adventures with Buck Rogers type spacemen. But what this is a collection of short stories. Um, it collects Strange Adventures 35 to 48, Mystery in Space 16 to 22, and Action Comics 183 to 196. I'm assuming just like not the Superman stories. Um, You finally got your gorillas, Curtis. You've been waiting for gorillas. Yes, I have, and because I've noticed that DC used gorillas all the time in their comics. There's in each of these DC finest, and most of them, there's at least one story where somebody turns into a gorilla, um, or there's a giant gorilla on a rampage, or whatever, something like that. And I found out that that was one of the mandates by I can't remember which editor, if it was Carmine Infantino or Julie Schwartz or whoever it was, saying gorillas sell books. We've noticed if you put a gorilla on the cover, kids notice it and they buy them, like they buy them up. So that's why. And so maybe DC's doing the same thing here by putting a gorilla on the cover, even though there's not much gorilla content on the inside. Super funny. So anyway, each of those comics is 3 or 4 short stories, all science fiction related, and some of them have reoccurring characters, like Captain Comet, I believe, and some of them are just standalone. So we get a little bit of a cross section of a bunch of stuff, which is pretty exciting. I think, yeah, there's Captain Comet right there. I think that's really neat. I love these short stories. I'm a big fan of like the EC Comics type stuff. That's what Marvel's golden age was doing in those Atlas comics I was telling you from Fantagraphics. Those are all kind of horror and science fiction short stories, and that's the same as here. This is a big fat book, though. It is over 600 pages, 620 pages, it looks like. And so there's no way that I'm going to be able to finish all of this by by Friday for Dom's live stream. So I'm going to have to get through as much as possible. I'm going to skip around and read a sampling from each of the books so that I have a well-rounded idea of what this era was like and what each title was given off. But that's a Golden Age comics or Silver Age comics take a long time to read anyway. They're just dense, and then couple that with 600 pages, like that's a lot of stuff. Would the Planet of the Apes novel have been around the same time as well? I'm not sure how long it was between the French release and the English translation. I don't know. It probably was around the same time because the movie was um mid 60s, right? The movie was mid 60s, and so the book would have had to have come out sometime before that with enough time for it to gain in popularity. So if the book itself was the 50s and the English translation came out late 50s or early 60s, then the timing would line up for a movie around that time as well. But yeah, everyone loved gorillas ever since King Kong. I do too. Flipping through it, I didn't even find the gorilla pages. So, oh wait, there's one right there. That's great. I have to admit, I am a sucker for the gorilla covers, so DC has won me over, even if there are only a few gorilla stories. I'm super happy that this book exists. The other reason I'm super happy this book exists is because this is the first genre collection that DC has given us in the DC Finest that's not focused on one particular character or even superheroes, but is diving into the more obscure side of DC Comics, and I think that's fantastic. They're not just giving us the superheroes, although that's what everybody wants, but they're going to branch out. So already announced there was going to be a horror volume, and there's going to be um, what's the other one? The war volume. There's a horror volume and a war volume of sampling of, of the stuff that they were doing throughout their history, and I think that is just great. So I encourage people to pick up these genre books. Even if you're only mildly interested, because the only way that they're going to keep giving us these is if if they sell. If they only sell like 10 of them, then it's not worth it to keep on pumping them out. So please support these genre books because I think it's an important thing to to include. Is Sergeant Rock part of the War DC Finest coming out? I don't remember. Um, I don't remember if Sergeant Rock is in there or not. Sergeant Rock has name value enough that he could get his own series. So, but I don't know if they're going to do that or not. Not sure. Okay, one more book. So one more book in here. Is it Marvel? Is it DC? It's Marvel. This one is Marvel. It's Micronauts. This one is very exciting. I've been waiting for this one for a long time. Micronauts is a series of toys, and Marvel had a deal with the toy company at the time to produce a comic book tie-in. And as it turns out, the comic book lasted a lot longer than the toy line itself, kind of like Rom. But and then eventually got owned by Hasbro. So this has been in publishing limbo for years uh, because a lot of Marvel characters show up through the course of this series, and so no other publisher could really afford to do reprints of this because they would have to license both the Micronauts characters from Hasbro and the Marvel characters from Marvel. So it wasn't worth anybody's time and effort to do that. But finally, Marvel has partnered with Hasbro to bring us Micronauts. And yes, the full series is out um, already in omnibus format, but now we have it in paperback in smaller installments. And like I said at the beginning of this series, or sorry, at the beginning of this live stream, um, the all of the volumes have been announced yet. It's going to be collected in 5 volumes, and they've all been announced to come out between this year and next year. So for those of you who are wondering, are they going to get the whole thing out, or are we going to have another Conan the Barbarian situation? It looks like as long as they don't cancel it prematurely, it looks like all of these volumes are going to come out. Now, the only thing that's missing is the X-Men versus Micronauts miniseries. It's not in the omnibus, and it's not going to be collected in the Epic collections either. There, from what I understand, there was some sort of objection to some of the content in there, and I think the licensors didn't want to have that under their banner. So, first appearance of Captain Universe, right here, Micronauts number 8. I think that's the first um, well, I mean, not the first Marvel character because he's created for this book here, but other characters like this guy up here, Bug, are created for this comic as well. Artwork by Michael Golden, and it's all written by Bill Mantlo. And so if you get this one volume, which has the first 13 issues plus an annual, no, first 20 issues plus an annual, yeah, you get the entire Michael Golden run, which I think is only the first 12 issues. He's only on there for the first year. Then afterwards, I believe, who's it? Howard Chaykin does the layouts with Al Milgrom doing the finishes. There's the Fantastic Four in this one, fighting the Psycho Man. I read these issues a long time ago. It's been so long that I don't remember a lot of them. So it'll be great to revisit this book. Um, and I remember it being just a lot of fun. Look at that. They fight a chicken. How could you say that this is not fun? It would only be more fun if there's a gorilla. There's Ant-Man. Of course, it's going to be Ant-Man when you have a group of shrinking characters. Wow, some nice Micronauts concept art by Bob Hall. That's interesting. Very cool. Do you like the design elements they're giving here to make the Micronauts books stand out differently than all of the other epics? That's an interesting way of doing things, hey? And of course, you saw also it's got stars in the back of this banner up here and on the back here. No stars on the spine though, so it keeps it a little bit more consistent with the other ones. Although this Micronauts, this font is different than the Epic Collection fonts, so it will look a little bit different. Here, let me put it beside this Deadpool book so you can see. Yep. Agent X has just a bigger font than this one right here. And this one says the original Marvel years right on the side. But okay, let's see what the comics say here. The upcoming DC Finest War is set before Sergeant Rock's debut, with comics from 1957. Sergeant Rock's debut is 1959. So Jim says if I had to bet, I'd say he isn't a separate line. Okay, but not going to be in this first volume because his series hasn't started yet. Got it. I'm looking forward to Micronauts. Can we get Crystar next for some stupid 80s fantasy? Am I just imagining it, or did DC announce a Crystar like omnibus recently? I don't remember. Maybe I'm just dreaming it. Are they not using the logo on the spine? That's surprising considering ROM and Star Wars classic epics both do that. Yeah, why? I don't know. My guess is that with this font being so skinny, this big to fit on there, it's not going to look good. That's my guess. Um, and so they decided to just go with a real font that you can read a lot better, which to me makes sense. Are you going to watch the new Fantastic Four movie? What's your favorite FF Epic collection that you've read? The answer to the first question is yes. I'm going to go see it on Friday. And what is my favorite FF Epic collection? I am a big fan of the Tom DeFalco era, and so I'd have to say that probably the volume, um, this Flame, this Fury, I think is probably my favorite. It's after the new Fantastic Four. It's after the series kind of his run gets going. There's a lot of stuff. Johnny gets in trouble with the law, and the new Fantastic Four return, and we find out secrets about Elijah, and it's just like or secrets about Alicia Masters. Sorry, did I just give things away? But it's great. I love that run. I think it's so much fun, and a lot of people are reading it for the first time thanks to Epic Collections because it's never had an omnibus or a real dedicated reprinting. I missed the boat on Micronauts. Well, you haven't yet. You could still get the Epic Collections. I don't think they're sold out, so go for it. Micronauts makes me feel 15 again, and I turn 60 next week. Oh, that's great. I love it. I love when you get to revert back to your childhood when you read things like this. Yeah, and happy early birthday, Gene. That's great. David says hello. Hello, David. Just got off work and saw you're streaming. Awesome. Glad you're here. Hi, Joe, to you too. And see you later, Dr. Smith. People are coming, people are going. That's great. I want to be excited about the FF movie, but Pedro Pascal was a horrible casting choice for Reed. Well, if you are just basing it on looks, then maybe I would say yes. But there's more to looks. There's more to the character than looks. So Pedro Pascal and everything that I've seen him in is fantastic. I love the actor. So let's see if he does a good job. I can't say whether it's going to be horrible or casting until I actually see the the acting from the character, and also the writing is a big part of that too. So maybe the writing is really suited to to Pedro and his acting style. So let's find out. I'm very excited for it. The last few MCU projects have been great. I've loved them. I've loved um, Thunderbolts was really great. Agatha All Along I really enjoyed, and Ironheart. While it had a little rocky start, that last half of that show was so good. Loved it. What's the best Master of Kung Fu epic? I want to buy one. Remembrance of My Youth comics. So there's only two Master of Kung Fu epics because they lost the license and couldn't get the whole series out. So if you want to buy, they're both hard to find now because of that. They're not going to be reprinted unless Marvel comes back with their licensing deal with the estate. So I would say the second volume is better than the first one. So if you can find that one, go for it. But we'll see. Did you see Superman? Yes, I did see Superman. In fact, I saw it twice because I really liked it, and I don't often go to see movies in theaters twice. Um, I thought that it was just so much fun. Really, really enjoyed it. So I hope that all of you had a chance to go see it and found something to enjoy about it as well. So much controversy, hey? So much controversy, and in my opinion, um, unwarranted because it's just a fun movie. There's something in there for everybody. Everyone's saying happy birthday to Gene. That's awesome. Good job, everybody. Um, okay, what have we talked about today? Micronauts, which as soon as I'm finished with my Thunderbolts Epic Collection, I'm going to jump into this book. And we also got Deadpool, which I need to exchange because this one has a cut on in the back cover. And we talked about two DC Finest Science Fiction, The Gorilla World, and Justice Society of America, Volume 2, The Plunder of the Psycho Pirate. That is a lot of comics to read right now. I need to get on that because you always run a risk of falling behind, which, of course, everybody who collects books falls behind. We always have a big reading pile of stuff that we haven't got to yet, and that's going to be the case for Deadpool. It's going to sit there for a while until I get around to reading it because it's not high on my uh, priority list. Okay, Logan says, "Are you and your son still doing your MCU rewatch? What movie are you up to, if you are?" So, for those of you who don't know, it's Marvel Monday at my house, and my son and we like to watch all of the MCU movies in as close to a conceivable watching order. Sometimes it you don't know exactly when in the timeline things take place or whatever. And sometimes things like, well, do we watch Captain America first because technically it's the one that takes place furthest in the back? So we're watching it pretty much in release order with a few exceptions. A few exceptions being like we're watching the two Spider-Man movies back to back because they take place back to back, that kind of stuff. So the last few weeks have been the two Spider-Man movies, Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness, and last week we watched the first two episodes of Hawkeye, and today we're going to watch the second two, the episode 3 and 4 of Hawkeye, and then we'll finish up the Hawkeye series next week. So there you go. Do you still do your Epic podcast reviewing Epic volumes? I met you through those MP3s. Yeah, I haven't done those in a couple years. Life has been too busy to devote to the editing process. I think I'm just too particular with editing. It's got to be really, really good, nice and perfect, and take out the ums and all that kind of stuff. And I hear that there are new tools since I stopped um, doing these things that make the editing process a lot easier, like text editing and that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna have to look into that. And if it is easier and takes less time, then maybe I'll jump back into it because I really did like doing that. All of the co-hosts that I had were fun, and um, the I just like diving deep into each of those issues. Or maybe there's a different way I can go about doing those podcast episodes. If you have any suggestions, let me know. Looking forward to the Friday stream with you and Dom. Have a great week. Thanks, Matt. Yes, reminder, Finest Fridays is this Friday on Dom's YouTube channel, which is called Dom of X. And I'll be there Friday live at 11:30, I think. Now I can't remember. But we will be talking about all of the DC finest that came out this week, including Wonder Woman, Justice Society, and science fiction. So there you go. A good mix of books there. Um, okay. I would put Deadpool higher on the list. It's really funny, and the Udon art is great. Okay. I might have to take you up on that. I'll let you know. Hawkeye was good. I enjoyed that show for the most part. I did too. I only watched it once when it first aired, so this is my second time viewing it, and it's great. Those first two episodes, especially, are super good. Oh, thanks. They were my favorite review on the net. I listened to it a lot. Well, thanks everybody. This has been a great live stream. We're going to call it here, 40 minutes. And I thank everybody for watching. If you can please just take a second to like this video, that would be much appreciated. And yeah, I'll be back next week. Catch me on Friday, but I'll be back next Monday to talk about more of these epic collections. Thanks everybody for watching. Have a great day.